Artistic Creations with DIYs-by-dar. Let's create. And today I've got a special piece. It is for our Flippin Bunch challenge. And what's really cool about this challenge is you get to vote on your favorite. So we have a special phone number for that. The Flippin Bunch at 814-515-4905. And we'll find out who the winner is. This was my piece from GoodWill. And I could try to pass it off like a big piece of furniture, but it isn't. So I probably am disqualified right away. It's 14 inches tall. You can see some powdery mildew down there at the bottom. There was $5 and some more powdery mildew there on the side. So I went and took this all apart, and I am thinking this really is not vintage, just made to look that way. So we are going to take some bleach and soak this and scrub this. Now this is kind of a weird makeup of wood. The bottom side is rough, there's nothing on it. Then the top side of these shelves are lacquered. They are solid wood. And then there's these pieces that are like balsa wood, my most favorite thing in the world to work with. Drying these off with a towel and rotating them. I got them back upstairs, and you can still see the shine on the top of that board. So I am going to have to do something about that. Now here's the paper that I am going to be using. My Made by Marley Magic Bohemian Decoupage furniture paper. And you can follow them on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. They have many stockists in the U.S. If you can't find them, just go for that website I have listed above there. And their paper is on recycled paper. You get 3 sheets in a set. And for this piece, I only used 2 of these sheets of decoupage paper. I needed to find some paint, and I wanted Dixie Belle Silk all-in-one paint. That is probably one of my go-to paints for a nice smooth finish. And there is my Nemesis balsa wood that I am going to put my decoupage paper on. But I have had trouble in the past with these bleeding, and this is mahogany wood, but the top sealed pretty good. Bottom is raw and open, and these balsa wood pieces are raw and open. Now, I have some Boss, but I'm going to need to use some Slick Stick. So I thought I'm just going to put this on everything just for a base primer. I'm waiting for some more Boss in the mail. I have some Boss, but it's clear Boss, and I am going to use this. 2 coats on this balsa wood and just 1 regular coat on the other pieces. So if it decides it wants to bleed, it will not. Here is my paint, and I am applying with a little roller, which made it very, very nice and smooth. This paint self-levels great. I did have to put 3 coats on because I had that white primer on there. Everything is drying. It is time to go to that balsa thin wood and put my decoupage paper on there. Now 1 sheet is going to get the 3 longer slats that go in the back. So you really need to tear your paper if you have to butt some paint up to the edge. And I am going to have to do that because it is short on both sides just a little bit. I like to take and bend it over and then crease it with my fingernail. Take it back over one more time and then give it another crease with my fingernail. And then I straighten it out, and I am ready to go ahead and tear it and just pull that paper straight back, and it should come right off for you because I'm trying to conserve most of the paper that I can. I have some matte Mod Podge, and I am going to be a little more generous with this. I had problems with this balsa wood in the past where it was not sealed real good. and it sucked all my paste out, and then I had little lines of air all over the whole piece. So I am making sure that I put a lot of paste on this, and I need to line this elephant up just right because he's a little bit large, and I need the other papers to line up as well after that. But I really wanted to get him in as one full piece because that's the bottom layer. I'm going to use a little cloth, just smooth that out, and then I'm going to continue on my way up, just doing the next one and the next one and let them dry, then cut them apart. Now here are those little slats, and I thought I'm just going to take and make one long piece and fold it over the top. I added moderate amount of paste. Once again, it's on this balsa wood, and start my piece, I tap it down and then just slowly work my way up and remove any air bubbles or wrinkles. And now I turned it over, and you can see why I was being careful. I almost went off the edge there on the left. And I'm going to fold this over now, and I'm going to try to pull it as tight as I can so that top corner is real tight. And then continue to pull it down and smooth that piece out. Wait for these to dry. And then I am going to go ahead and take my 120 grit sandpaper on my little sand block and sand all of these edges off. I am going to have to really hit them with a heavy Mod Podge on those corners because these slide down into the side. Now, here is the end I need to paint. I was short on all three pieces, so I got 6 sides that I need to paint, and I really don't want to put a whole lot of time into this. So we're kind of doing the quick paint job to get this to match in because I don't think you're really going to see it that well in the corner where it's at anyway. But when you're trying to match paper to paper, paper off paper, my rule of thumb is always follow the color with the pattern. Follow the color, follow the pattern. Follow the pattern, follow the color. And when that runs out, you might just have to make it up a little bit as you go. But I had the other 5 sides to do on this, so it probably took me an extra hour to get them done. But there they are. That's one sheet, the bottom sheet. And good enough. Not going to see that very much up in that corner. Here is my Mod Podge again in matte, and I am going to really hit these little squares now with a nice amount, and you're going to have to be careful how you set them so your paper doesn't stick somewhere and then you go to move it and you rip your paper off. So be real careful. Leave one end open and you have to flip them. Do I pick the blue or the red? I had to confer with my Flippin Bunch crew, and everybody said blue, so we have blue stays on ink, which is my favorite because it stays on. I'm going to pat that ink on that stamp. And you can see that elephant way there in the left. I'm trying to hold it up because he's a bit big to go on this smaller shelf. So I'm just trying to use that stencil with the flowered portion on the end, trying to touch all areas, not move it, and hold the elephant up. And you get what you get. So I've got to try to match this side up the best that I can eyeball it and set it down when I'm ready. Now I'm committed. I can't move it, and press it all over all the way to the end, and there you have it. So I went ahead and did all of the shelves. There's the elephant. He would fit on the bigger sections, but not the smaller sections. So I thought, all right, I need to get some red down on these shelves. I just took a little stencil and taped it off, and I just kind of like that little flourish. Just looked like a little bit of grass in a reddish color, and I put that all along the bottom on every shelf. Now I have a Posca pen with a heavier tip, and it is a metallic greenish blue turquoise color. I am going and outlining all of the flowers in greenery with that pen. And if it was a flower, I went in and did individual different colors that were in the actual paper to help match that up a little bit. The door was pretty bland, so I have a really small stamp, once again with the blue, going around the outside of the door on the front. Polycrylic. And this is a one coat. I'm like, I'm game. I really want to get these shelves protected before I try to put this back together. I don't want anything to happen to the paint. So on the front, I used a sponge instead of the brush, and it worked really great, more like a wipe on poly. I do like this. I got just one coat was all I put on, and they're pretty durable. When I put this back together, tight bond glue, these little knobby things are not going to come off anymore. So I am going to glue them down as tight as I can. Putting this back together. Now I have the one slat in the back, and now I'm pushing the side slat down. There's a little groove in the bottom, and then there's a groove in the top shelf that you put on the top. I put glue in all of those grooves and made sure all of my balsa wood was set correctly. I'm to that very last one, going to put that knob on the top, and wow, we're getting there. But the door still needs something. So I did a little stencil around that door in red, and then it still needed something, so I had the Posca marker. Remember this piece? Oh, here it is now. Well, I hope you gained some inspiration from this, and I want to thank Made by Marley for the decoupage paper that was provided for me, and also the Thrift Flip Challenge. Make sure you guys put a vote in on somebody's channel. This is what the number is. Remember, 814-515-4905. And we have lives every Wednesday at 7 p.m. The Flippin Bunch. Like and subscribe. Can I get that out? Like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.